Good day, everyone. So hope you're all doing really well. The Genshin Impact 6.0 live stream is over, and there's a lot of content, a lot of food for thought, and a lot to chew on. So, what I'll do in today's video is give you my first impressions on some of the content. I'm not going to summarize things. There are other channels that'll do that if you haven't been caught up, and then obviously in the next coming couple of days, we'll cover some very specific topics in a lot of detail. But just to quickly get a couple of things out of the way, my top two favorite things about the live stream was Columbina. I think the character design, motif, everything around her is just perfect. I'm really in love with the Columbina. It's really great. And then the second thing was the music concert in the live stream. It was really, really phenomenally well done. Like the behind the scenes look and the actual concert, brilliant. My bottom two things are that the new region does look really underwhelming. And then the other thing is the future monetization of Genshin Impact. And I'm not talking about the whole level 100 thing. I'm talking about the UCG content. So maybe let's get into that as a bit of a first impression. You see, a lot of people looked at the UCG stuff and they're like, ooh, gimme, gameplay, ooh, fun. But that's not actually the serious thing we need to talk about. The serious thing is the money. And the money comes in the fact that the UCG will enable creators to earn by creating content on the Genshin platform. And that to me really sparked like a lot of interesting like ideas and thoughts, because if it's well monetized and you earn hard currency as a creator, substantial currency to not just earn a living but a decent good living by creating content for Genshin, that is going to be the type of thing that will solidify Genshin and will make it more successful than Withering Waves, Lads, or any other gacha game. And I'm sorry if there are any Genshin haters listening to this, but that's the honest truth. Because what Genshin is doing now is they're not just trying to create a gacha game. If you listen carefully to what the developers have said, they're not just creating a game that they're going to monetize, they're trying to create something that's going to be a bit of like a cultural revolution. So basically, they want to expand the footprint of Genshin and with that, hopefully get you into the Hoyo ecosystem so that they can then sell you other products or other games to enjoy. I think that is the whole way that they're seeing Genshin. And Genshin, with its iconic characters, is easy to monetize in that sort of fashion. And of course, what better way to kind of do that than get the community to work for you? So this is the cynical part of me. I think this entire thing is just another elaborate way for Hoyo to spread out their reach that will be cost effective and in fact even profitable for them in the long run. But the other flip coin of this is that if they only give you primo gem or in-game rewards as a creator, then yes, I do think games like Withering Waves, Lads from Infold, and some of the other gacha games will just shoot past Hoyo, because you've got to understand this. When it comes to money and when it comes to motivation to create and to advertise, proper incentives towards creators, it is everything. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't have a, what do you call it, artifact loadout system in one game and not in another game, or if you can fly in the one game and the other game's got paywalled characters with special movement abilities in the region. Those things really don't matter. What matters is cultural impact. And I think it's just kind of, for me as an investor, as a professional investor in my day to day, it is obvious what Hoyo is really trying to do here with Genshin. And I think in a certain sense what I don't like, this is why I said this is the second disappointing thing for me, is that what they're doing is not focusing on giving you the best gameplay experience. In other words, truly making Genshin a project out of passion, but they're using Genshin as a platform to just launch their IP and company further, even if it's going to come at certain expenses of the game's integrity, valor, and so on. So, for instance, one of the subtle things that they pointed out in the live stream is that the new region in Not Cry is not going to have character stories, but it's all going to be integrated within the Archon quest, which is just basically a code word for, yeah, we didn't want to put in the development effort. So there's lots of small little things, if you really pay attention, that makes you think, it's an interesting game that they're going and playing with here. But maybe, look, this might just me being overreacting to this, thinking a lot, but I can certainly see the potential of a proper monetized system. And the one thing that obviously complements this is if you give a lot of very dedicated, and I mean, look, there are some really dedicated people that wail on everything in the game. If you give them some sort of incentive to feel just extra special by having a level 100 character, I mean, look, honestly, it doesn't matter. We'll cover that perhaps in the next video, and why you should, if you are lucky enough to level 100 your Kokomi, why you should do that. But I'll leave that for the next video. But yeah, that's just my overall take and vibes about Not Cry. I was absolutely, if I'm just going to speak or just gloat a bit, but when I released my Arlecchino Out of Bounds video and we talked about the cash grabby nature of Not Cry and the future direction of Genshin Impact and all of that, I think I was 100% on the money in saying that Not Cry is just another excuse for Hoyo to make as much money as possible so that they can pivot for their next game. And I think that's the part that I probably got wrong. What they're probably trying to do is pivot their IP to be even more like further reaching, and even in a certain sense have Genshin not so much as a lost leader, but just as a neutral or like a very strong cultural entry point so that people can get hooked into their ecosystem. So you'll definitely see brand MiHoYo potentially being a brand like Coca-Cola or like Google or whatever in a couple of years if they're really, really successful, if they're doing what I think they're doing. But look, all these things can change. I can be completely wrong in my assessment, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. But yeah, so just to be doubly clear on this, there are things that I like, there are things that I don't like, and it's most importantly the direction of the game and so on, and the monetization of the game. I've always been clear about that, but certainly from a Not Cry perspective, I think we're gonna get more story heavy driven elements and narratives, which will be good. I think it's not just going to be this fanfare and flashy and Mavuika punching the sky, but maybe a bit more of a thoughtful story, hopefully. Crossing my fingers. If not, it is what it is. Alright guys, those are some of my initial thoughts, and in the upcoming videos we'll dig deeper into certain specific topics. But if you've got something you really want me to dig deep into, do let me know down below in the comment section. And yeah, if you can't tell by now, my voice is a bit lower because I'm obviously been sick the past couple of days, and also that does impact my ability to make videos and stuff. But hey, we will catch up. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Cheers.